Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you, everyone? I hope all of you are in healthy and safe condition wherever you are. Okay, today I would like to discuss about the overview of retail marketing. But before I'm discussing about what is retail marketing, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Radian Dananjoyo. You can call me Radian. I'm a lecturer from Management Department for Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. So you can reach me in any social media platform, or you can reach me through email, you can reach me through the phone. Okay, next, in my next slide, I would like to discuss about what is research, what is the retail marketing is. Retail marketing, you can see here that retail marketing is the set of business activity that add value to the product and services sold to customer for their personal or family use. So it means every activity selling to the customer directly, it can and go to the channel called retail. It means called retail management. So I will show you the flow of the retail marketing. This is the flow of retail marketing. From manufacturer produce the product and then distribute by the retail. And then retail goes to the customer. But before the retail, actually there are some of the channel that are related with the manufacturer. So we can see here that from manufacturer they sell to the wholesaler, from the wholesaler they sell to the retail, and then from the retail they sell the customer. So customer is the endpoint from the supply chain of the product. From the manufacturer produce the product and then distribute to the wholesale. From the wholesale they provide to the retailer and the retailer sell it to the customer. So why retail marketing is important? Retail marketing is important because retail marketing is the main contact for customer. What's the meaning the main contact for the customer? Customer is the closest contact of the product to the company. So company normally they did not reach directly to the customer, but retail every day, every single activity, they make a personal contact directly with the customer. So whatever going on with the product broken, the product good, the product is bad, the first point of touch is retail. The customer will complain to the retail first before they complain to the company. So that's why retail is important, because if they serve the customer very good, and then the customer will satisfy. And if the customer satisfied, the product will be repeat order by the customer. And if the product get a repeat order from the customer, it means the manufacturer can produce every time, more frequently. Okay, next, why retail marketing is important? Retail marketing important because at the moment, retail marketing is not discussing about selling, how to sell the product. Retail not only selling the product, but retail is also selling the point services. The main point of retail at the moment is services. I will give you sample. At the moment, Alfamart here, they transform into the more services. They transform with the more services to the customer. They transform with any activity that give more services to the customer, such like this. They're not only selling the product, but they're also selling the space. They're selling the working space. What is the purpose they're selling the working space? Because if They sell in the working space. It means they're hoping that the customer not only stay in the working space without buying nothing. So hopefully by providing the services like this, they will improve the sales of the product, because the customer who stay in the working space, they will buy some food, they will buy some coffee, they will buy some drink and anything else. That's the importance of service from retail marketing. Next one, I would like to discuss about this. There are two types of retails. The first one is modern retail, and the second one is traditional retail. What is the difference between modern and traditional retail? You can see here the difference. The difference is the retail from the modern retail is clean. The modern retail is more visible. It's easy to get the product. If you compare to the traditional retail, you can see here it's not too clean, it's not visible, it's not easy to find the product. So yeah, this is the main differences here. But I would like to discuss what are the differences between modern retail and traditional retail. You can see here, there are several characteristics which distinguish between modern and traditional retail. The first one, the function. Function of modern retail, most likely, the market is for the professional. And then they manage by the professional management. It's different with the traditional retail. Most likely, traditional retail managed by a single owner. Next, the logistic. The characteristic of logistic from modern retail, most likely they are using distribution center. And then the traditional retail, they only using the single distribution. What is the meaning of distribution center? Distribution center is like this. So manufacturer, they produce the product, and then they send the product to the distribution center from, let's say, Alfamart or Indomart or whatever it is. They send to the distribution center, and then there is an order from one retail. Let's say one order retail in Jogja, different in Bantul, for example. One Indomart retail, they want to order some product, and they did not contact the manufacturer. They contact the distribution center. They have a list what are the product are stocked out at the moment, and then they place the order, and then the logistic will deliver the product. It's different with the traditional retail. Some of the traditional retail, they goes directly to the supermarket. They goes directly to the grocery by themselves to buy the product for their store. It means it's only single distribution. There is no like a professional management of logistics in traditional retail. Next, the characteristic of the financial flow. In modern retail, most likely, they are using the bank transfer for the financial flow. And for the traditional retail, they are using cash payment for the customer. And the credit is a relationship-based credit here. So, for example, in traditional retail, if you want to buy something, but if you know the owner very close, it means that you can buy a cup of coffee today, but you can pay later, for example. Why? Because you know the owner. So your owner trusts you. So you can pay. You can get the product today, but you can pay later. But it's impossible happen in modern retail. If you want to buy product from modern retail, let's say if you want to buy product from Alfamart, if you want to buy a cookie from Alfamart today, and you have to buy before you bring the cookie home. So this is the main differences between modern and traditional. Now I will discuss about the stock keeping units from modern retail and traditional retail. Modern retail, they have a lot of product, probably from 1,000 to million in their warehouse. On the other hand, the traditional retail, they only have probably 100 till 1,000. item in their warehouse. The number of customer. The number of customer, of course, modern retail, they have more customer than traditional retail, probably thousands of customer compared to hundreds of customer from traditional retail. The last one, the characteristic is about the technology. Almost all of the modern retail, they are using POS, point of sales. Almost all of the modern retail, they are using their own apps for the transaction. It's different with the traditional retail. They most likely they did not have the application for their stores. They only have phones. Probably their transaction only using the WhatsApp or only using the text to the customer. It's different with the modern retail. They have a comprehensive application system that integrated between one and another. Okay, that's the characteristic between modern retail and traditional retail. And then I would like to discuss here about the penetration of modern retail. So if you can see here the modern in the developed country, modern retail has the more portion compared to traditional retail. If you can see in my slide here, modern retail in UK, modern retail in USA, modern retail in New Zealand, they are the market share are around 93%, and traditional retail is only around 7%. If you compare to the developing countries, let's say like Vietnam, look here, Vietnam. In Vietnam, only there are 10% of modern retail. It means there are 90% of traditional retail. How about Indonesia? Can see here Indonesia? Yeah, in Indonesia, modern retail, the portion of modern retail around 30%. It means there are 70% of traditional retail in Indonesia. So if you want to know the contribution of sales from the retail industry, you can see here based on the data, in 2010, the number of sales from retail industry around $792 billion. In 2019, it was improved into $1,600 billion for 1 year. It means there are more than 100% incremental between 2010 and 2019. It also can be said that it's a good business in the retail industry. In 2030, the estimation of sales from retail industry around 2,842 billion. This is with the estimation of the growth rate around 5% every single year. Based on this data, you can see that retail industry is one of big industry in the world, including Indonesia. So if you want to know about the contribution of retail industry in our GDP, you can see my next slide here. Look, retail industry, the contribution of retail industry in the green area around 13% compared to the other industry in Indonesia. So 13% of the economic contribution are from retail industry. Every activities in retail industry contributed into this number. They are the second biggest behind a manufacturing industry. Even compared to the construction industry, retail industry is much more bigger. It means they give a lot of contribution to the economy. Next, I would like here, we have already discussed about why retail. We already discussed about the importance of retail. We already discussed about the contribution of retail to the economic industry, economic development, not only in the world, but also in Indonesia. So what to do next? What to do next here is, if you want to open one single retail in one specific area, so what you need to do? First one, you should know the retail strategy and you should implement this strategy properly. Actually, there are 6 items here. There are 6 categories that you have to look after before you open or you create the retail in one specific area. The first one is about the location. I would like to discuss one by one, but I would like to explain to you about the retail strategy here. The first one about the location. You should understand about the location strategy. And then the next one, you should understand about merchandise assortment strategy. The other strategy is the pricing strategy. And the communication mix strategy also plays an important role for your retail. And the next one is about the store display strategy. And the last one, and probably is also one of the most important strategy, is the customer service strategy. So by implementing all this strategy, by studying this strategy, you will understand what are the key points that you have to do before you open your retail, or you manage one single retail, or you manage some retail in your specific area. First, I would like to discuss about location. So if people say that what is the most important strategy to for retail management, so I would like to say location. What is the second one? Location. What is the third one? Also location. It means that location plays the most important part for creating the retail in one specific area. So there are 6 category or 6 characteristic of location here that you should look after. The first one about the demographic. You have to analyze the demographic factor. What is the demographic factor here? The demographic factor is like occupation from the people live around the area. So how many people live in the area? So how many people are men? How many the gender? How many people are girl? So the gender proportion also important for our demographic factor. And the second one is about the economic factor. What is economic factor? Economic factor is, let's say, yeah, I already discussed before about GDP. GDP is one of the economic factors. What is the economic growth in the specific area compared to the national GDP or compared to the economic growth? What is inflation rate in those specific area compared to the national inflation rate? So you have to make a comparison between one specific area to the national area or the region area. The third factor that you have to know is about the culture. Why culture important? Of course, culture is important because if you open, let's say you open retail in one specific area and you do not know the local culture, so it means that you not serve the customer properly. Just for example, if you open the retail in Jogja, or if you open retail in Sleman, for example, but one of your employee or most of your employees, for example, they do not know how to speak Japanese fluently, it's not good for the retail, their retail. Why it's not good? Because you do not understand the local language. You cannot communicate with the local language, with the local people. Because most people who come to your retail are the local people. Most are local people, they are using the local language. Like in Java, they're using Japanese. That is the third factor. The fourth factor, this is the most important one from the location strategy about the demand. So how you manage the demand, how you capture the demand. So how to know the demand in one specific area? Normally there are formula to calculate the demand in one specific area. You can see here, the demand from one specific area you can calculate by using buying power index. How to calculate buying power index? The buying power index, the calculation is the population of market area in one specific area or in X area divided by total national population multiplied by 2 plus effective buying income market area in areas, the specific area in area X, for example, divided by total national effective buying income multiplied by 5, and then plus retail sales of market area X divided by total retail sales nationally multiplied by 3. If you have buying power index bigger, means that you have more demand in the specific area. If you have buying power index more than the population, it means that you have good spot of location. Actually, we will divide it into the several quadrant. I would like to discuss you later. But how to manage, how to make calculation of buying power index, because there is a specific quadrant. There's a the first tier, the second tier, the third tier. It depends on the number of buying power index. It differs between one area and the other area. The next one, the next factor that related with the location is about the competition. So we have to measure the competition in one specific area before we open our retail in those areas. The competition can be divided into two competition, direct competitor or with the indirect competitor. Who is the direct competitor? Direct competitor, let's say if you want to buy Alfamart, so you have to understand in, let's say in 5 kilometer area, how many Indomart, how many Alfamart, how many model retail available there. This is the direct competitor. Who is the indirect competitor? Indirect competitor is the traditional retailer. How many traditional retailer available in those specific area? So if you already, we should understand properly who they are and how we anticipate the competition with them. This is the competition. And the last factor for location is the infrastructure. In infrastructure, what is infrastructure? Infrastructure is not only the physical infrastructure. Infrastructure is like the law infrastructure. So we have to know about the regulation before you open the retail or during the retail business opening or during the operational activity in the retail industry. So this is the kind of the infrastructure. So and the other thing is the infrastructure for technology infrastructure. Are we available with the proper application technology for our technology infrastructure? How about the competitor infrastructure? How can we differentiate with them? This is the kind of factor. There are 6 factors that we can discuss one by one. I will show you how to discuss each factor in my next video. But now this is the important factor for location strategy. The next strategy I would like to discuss about the merchandise assortment strategy. Actually, what is merchandise assortment? Okay, merchandise assortment is how do we choose the right mix of product to sell in retail store. So how do we make the composition of the product that we want to sell in our retail. This is important because of what? By understanding the market demand, understanding the customer needs, so we will provide the product that customer needs in our retail. If if we don't have any proper condition, if we don't have any proper combination of the product, it means we cannot serve our customer properly. Actually, there are two strategies of the merchandise assortment. The first one is how the depth of product offered. It means how many variations of a particular product a store available. The second one is the width of the product variety. How many product types of how many different types of product available in a store. So there are two strategies that you have to understand before you create a retail or you managing the retail. The next strategy, I would like to discuss about the pricing strategy. Pricing strategy also crucial here because when we are not implement the proper strategy, so probably we will make a wrong decision for our pricing. So what are the pricing strategy? What are factors that influence the pricing strategy? You can see here, there are 4 factors that influence the pricing strategy. The first one is store policy. What is store policy here? Store policy is based on our policy. If we open the store, and then we should understand who is our market segment. So we can make the policy that we want, let's say if your segment market is for the low-end market, so your store policy is you will implement the low price strategy. But if you open, let's say, the premium retail, your store policy will be premium price. The other factor that influence the pricing strategy is the competitor price. How much they sell the product. The next factor is the economic condition. What are the economic condition at the moment? And then we can, if the economic condition good, and then we can implement the good pricing strategy. But let's say the demand from the customer is not good, it's almost impossible that we can implement the good pricing strategy. And the last one is about the target market and demand. That's the important one. Who are our target market? Who are our customer? Who are our market segment? So based on that one, we can go to the store policy. So without understanding those factors, it means that you will not able to implement the proper pricing strategy. I would like to show you what are the pricing strategy here. There are 4 quadrants here. So I'll make the quadrant for the X diagram is for quality and the Y is for price here. So if we want to implement the pricing strategy based on the low quality of the product and with the low price, it means it's called by economic pricing strategy. Economic pricing strategy is like, say for example, we sell the product which is the product with the low price. At the moment, if you will see the retail who sell the product with the low price, let's say like Miniso or Uniqlo, for example, they sell the product with the low price, probably with the low quality, because their segment is for the low income market. That's why they're selling the product with the low price. The next strategy is the penetration pricing. What is the penetration pricing is? The penetration pricing is they implement the low price, but they're expecting by selling the price with the low price, they will get the high volume. Because let's say, for example, they are the new product in the new market. So you don't know the market. You do not know about the situation in the market. So, but you want to get the product. You want to get the market. So the first one, you introduce your product. One of the strategy, you put the low price. By putting the low price, customer will understand. Oh, customer will aware about the product. Customer knows that you are exist in the market. So hopefully someday, if you are selling the product in those area, the customer already know about the product, and then they will do repeat order. Because the first one, you give them the low price. So in their mindset, your product is the low price compared to the others. That is the penetration pricing. The third strategy is the skimming pricing. What is the skimming pricing? Skimming pricing here, you put the price for the first one, you put the price with the high price. You just want to test the water, whether the product can be accepted with the high price or not. Let's say if the product the customer not accept the price with the product with a high price, it means that the next day or the next week or the next period, you can minimize the price. You can reduce the price. It's called the skimming price. And the last one is the premium pricing strategy. Premium pricing strategy, you place the pricing above the average price. Even though you are selling the same type of product, but you are selling in the premium price, because your target market is the premium people or the high-end people. Sample here is like at the moment, the business that are booming are the coffee shop, but we can find a lot of coffee shop around the city, around the Jogja, but the coffee shop who sell with the premium prices, let's say for example Starbucks. Why Starbucks sell the product with their product with the premium price? Because their target market is the high-end people, the high-end customer. The people who not only want to buy the product that I explained to you in my previous slide. They come to Starbucks because they want to get service. They want to get the comfort. They want to go to Starbucks because they feel comfort. They stay there. They can have meeting with their friend. They can have interaction with their friend. They can make a discussion with their teacher or who else. That's why they put the price with the high price, with the high quantity, with the high quality. That's the reason of the charging the high price of the premium pricing. Okay, this is the pricing strategy. So there are 4 types of pricing strategy. The first one, economic pricing strategy, penetration pricing strategy, skimming pricing strategy, and premium pricing strategy. Now we move to another strategy for retail. After pricing is about the communication mix strategy. What are the communication mix strategy? Communication mix is how do we communicate with our customer? How do we communicate with our stakeholder? So how do we communicate with them? There are several strategies that we can discuss one by one here. The first strategy here is about the advertising. We can communicate with our stakeholder by using advertising. We can do advertising anywhere. We can do advertising in television. We can do advertising in radio. We can do advertising in internet on anywhere. Or we can do advertising on offline, behind the street, on everywhere. That it depends on you, depends on your strategy. The next strategy is the personal selling. What is the personal selling here? So you have one specific person, you have one that sell the product directly to the customer. they explain your sales force, they will explain what is your product, what is the benefit from your product compared to the others, and etc. etc. The next strategy is about the sales promotion. Sales promotion, let's say, if you want to buy one, you get buy one free. You get one free. If you buy two, you get one free. If you want buy three, you get one free. This kind of sales promotion. Or you can put discount, 20% discount, 10% discount, or whatever discount that you want to place it. And the next strategy is the public relation. Public relation here is that by integrating with the customer, integrating with the community, building the good relation with the community. It's, let's say, for example, you are using the CSR strategy, customer social responsibility, that you build something for your community, or you develop your community, and hopefully by developing something in the community will understand your product, the community will understand your retail, and then their brand awareness, their brand your brand image will be improved by doing the CSR strategy or public relations strategy. The next strategy is about the direct marketing. It's one kind of the one-on-one strategy that you can make a direct selling to the customer. You can go directly to the customer one by one. Okay. The next one I would like to discuss about the types. So we have to discuss about the tools of that strategy that we can use, but basically those strategy we can classify it into two type of strategy: push and pull strategy. Push strategy is strategy that we push the people to buy our product. So it can be used the trade promotion, it can be used the personal selling, it can be used the another advertising like sales promotion. Let's say if you want to use the push strategy, like say put for 10% discount, 20% discount. This is kind of push strategy. So we push the customer to buy our product. The other strategy is the pull strategy. What is the pull strategy? Basically, pull strategy is how to educate the customer. How to educate the customer about our product. Let's say you make an education to educate the customer about your product in one specific area. You introduce your product in one specific area. You introduce your benefit. You introduce your product compared to the other product. Your benefit of your product compared to the other product to the customer. It means the education. You create the educated, so customer will understand. If they want the specific product, they will come to you because they know your product properly. They know the benefit of your product. They know the advantage from using your product. But the pull strategy takes a long time. It's not direct sales. Pull strategy is to educate the customer. Educate customer, it could be give you the result not directly today, but probably it give you result next week, next month, or probably next year. It depends on your effort to the customer. This is the basic differences between push and pull strategy. So pull strategy is most costly because, and then pull strategy is you cannot get sales directly. This is the communication mix strategy. The next strategy for retail industry is I would like to explain about store design and store display. What are these? This is the use of strategy floor plan and space management, including furniture, display, fixture, lighting, and signage. So by using this strategy, so you will understand the floor plan. Let's say you have the floor plan. So where do you want to put the cookie? Where do you want to put the drink? Where do you want to put the bread? Where do you want to put the soap? Where do you want to put ice cream, for example? Where do you want to put another thing? So there is one specific side why you have to put the, for example, cigarette behind the cashier. Why you should put the ice cream in the corner, for example. So this layout is important because if you do not have clear layout, the customer will confuse where they come to your retail. Let's say, for example, layout is if one aisle, if you one aisle is for food, it's only for food. But if one aisle you put food and the other one you put let's say a soap, it will make the customer confused. Where should I get the food? Where should I get the soap? Where should I get the ice cream, for example? So you should have the clear layout between where is food, where is non-food. This is important for us. The next strategy or the last strategy for retail industry or retail marketing strategy is about the customer service. So how we do create the customer service strategy? How do we manage the customer service to the customer? So basically there are three challenges here for the customer service. The first one, how do customer perceive and evaluate the quality of our service? How to improve customer service, our service to the customer? How to make a service delivery blueprints and standardized components. As long as you can fulfill all of this, your customer will satisfy and then they will repeat order to your retail. I will show you here about the roadmap of the customer service. Yeah. This one, the blueprint of the customer service, our customer service strategy roadmap. The first one is we have to analyze the situation and we have to prepare. And then the next strategy is we have to design of the strategy. What strategy that's suitable for the situation. And then we have to make a test, the pilot test for our strategy, which is the pilot test. Like we have to test the strategy, which is can we implement this strategy in this area or not? And then after we evaluate the pilot test, we can roll out the strategy, and then the next one we make an evaluation. Just always like this. So the first one, if we already make an evaluation, let's say, oh, the strategy is not proper. What is the mistake? We can back to the analysis and then go further to make another strategy, make another pilot test, and so on and so on and so on. Finally, until we find the proper customer service strategy for our retail. Yeah, basically this all about the strategy for retail industry. So I hope it will help you understand the overview of retail. I hope it will give you knowledge about how to implement retail strategy even in your retail or in your school or everywhere that you want to implement this strategy. But yeah, this is only the overview. I would like to say thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching. See you again in my next video. Explain about retail industry. Good. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.